Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance, and today is going to be part 2 of the series on standing on the shoulders of giants, with the second part on Charles Poliquin, the strength sensei. Now, in the first part, which I'm going to link up here, I talked about the top 5 lessons that I got from Charles and that I use in my training, practice, and business all the time, and how each one built upon one another as well as relayed back to a lesson from before. Today's video is going to be lessons in strengthening and conditioning that others have taken from him and apply their number 1 lesson, the finger in the eye, that priority for them. But first, if you like this video and get any value from it or the previous one, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Now, originally I had planned to actually put this video out in early August, but after filming it and everything, I thought to myself, actually a better time for this would be around the anniversary of his passing, because it's a little more relevant to that point to show not just the impact that Charles had on my business and how I train people, but how his teachings have affected and influenced how other top coaches around the world who have built businesses of their own have coached Olympians, medalists, world champions, Olympic champions, and how they apply their number 1 top lesson from Charles to their own training, practice, and business. So I'm not going to be the one that's going to give you the lessons on that. I'm going to let all of them give it to you from their own mouth.
They're putting together all the favorite exercises that Charles Poliquin's friends learned from him, and so I've been requested to give one of my favorite, which is the ab crunch on the pulley, with the pulley system on the ball. I've been doing it for the last 20 years. It's all I have to do. I do it every day when I'm training. How difficult you want this exercise to be. Go further on the ball, further back on the ball. It's going to be more difficult. Easier is going to be further down. It's also easier to balance when you bring your glutes closer to the ground. Keep your feet underneath your knees. You can push with your heels and then just crunch forward. Okay? Just keep your hands down the whole time. You don't have to do anything fancy. There's no pushing or pulling. And you just do a crunch and crunch and crunch. You go down slowly, and you can go fast if you like. Just make sure you're not bouncing on the ball when you're going down, and that's it.
Hi, this is Tom Irvin from Quest PTS. Charles completely changed my view of applied kinesiology and showed me its true power and application. Now when a client comes in to see me that has concerns of their elbow health, now I can look at it, well, maybe it's a low stomach acid that's correlated to having weak elbows. Or maybe the pronator teres needs to be released to help improve that joint integrity. These are truly eye-opening factors I never considered before meeting Charles.
Okay, here we are at Training Systems Performance Center. I've been involved more than 15 years in training elite athletes. Top lesson, if you want to be a good coach, learn from Charles Poliquin, is it is not how much weight is on the bar, it's how hard you want to lift it. So maximal intent will recruit the most of the motor unit muscles and fibers, okay?
Jimmy Reps here, giving an account for the top lesson I've learned from Charles Poliquin would be applying the neurotransmitter training, doing the Braverman study and finding out what your neurotransmitter dominance is and applying it towards your workout seems to be very significant. Many of you have not received the same results, but I always wonder if your clients were being very honest and brutally honest with the Braverman study.
There's been 2 really big things that I've learned from Charles Poliquin. The first one is individualizing the training process, really understanding how to get great results. And kind of in a world in strength and conditioning where there's a lot of training systems or cookie cutter programs that kind of like touch everything, great results in athletic development, where you can take somebody from, maybe level 3 to level 10. Those are hard to come by because people don't understand the individual and in what the individual needs to improve. And Charles really understood that. So like individualizing the training process. The second thing is he was so great at building confidence in his athletes, but also building confidence in his students. And he did that for me, but he talked about how to really prepare athletes for competition and how to peak them properly. And that is something that is very rare, very unique, and he was super generous with his time and teaching me. So those are two big things, is individualization of the training process and really how to build confidence in your athletes.
So as with any good teacher, I feel like there's two lessons from Charles that I learned that probably have had a bigger impact on me than anything else. And neither one of them was something he actually taught, point for point in a course or a consult that we did. The first thing is I took Charles out for his birthday to dinner just to thank him for everything we had been doing. He had been coaching me for a couple years at that time. We'd done a couple competitions already. So I just wanted to say thanks and take him out to dinner. And when we sat down, one of the first things he said was, "What can I do better?" And, at that time, right, this is 2017, 2018, I was a younger coach, been involved in Charles's system for 10 or 15 years or more at the time, been working with him 2 or 3 years, obviously had known him, right, taking him out to dinner for his birthday. But for someone at Charles's level of experience and expertise, and just for somebody at that high of a level to start a conversation with a young coach saying, "What can I do better?" really changed how I frame my interactions with clients and athletes and students, right? What can I do better to serve you better? Was what I got from that question.
Hey guys, John Score from Spirit Training Center here. Tony asked me to make a video of the number one thing I learned from Charles Poliquin over the years. It's really hard to pick just one thing. He's taught me so much. He's really shaped who I am as a strength coach, as a business owner. But if I absolutely had to, I'd narrow it down to 3 categories. I'll give you one thing from each category. So the first one is training. Structural balance and strength ratios are a non-negotiable. You can't build elite performance on dysfunction. 2, never underestimate the power of location. Being a business owner, the right spot can make or break your business. And convenience matters more than you think for your clients. And then the last one is health and wellness through the biosignature method. Most people do not eat nearly enough protein, so optimizing protein is key. It's one of the simplest, most effective ways to make powerful changes for body composition, recovery, and overall health and wellness. So those would be my top 3. But like I said, I've learned so much from him, and I'm forever grateful.
Hey guys, one of the best training steps Charles gave me was train for structural balance. You don't have to test everything in detail like I do with professional athletes, but I would say pay attention to balance and work on your weaknesses. This prevents injuries, which are often the main reason why progress doesn't happen.
It was very hard to narrow down, but I would say the most important thing I learned from Charles Poliquin was to remain educated, to understand that there's always something to learn. You never know it all, and be careful on where you get your information from.
Charles was the first coach I ever met who talked about hormones like they were reps and sets. Low testosterone, estrogen dominance, cortisol wrecking your sleep, and also making sure that you're not getting any results. He built protocols around it all, training splits, nutrition, even supplements. He tailored it all to the hormonal profile. Fat loss wasn't just calories in versus calories out. It was site-specific, hormone-informed strategy, and he turned the gym into a lab. And once you learn to train the hormone, not just the muscle, your results go to the next level.
Okay, so some of the other lessons that people got back to me in text format came from various places around the world. But the number one answer that everyone was coming up with was basically structural balance. And that's just basically strength ratios between different muscle groups that keep a joint or a muscle group somewhat less prone to injury risks. So that's for the upper body, you're looking at a lot around the shoulder and the elbow. For the lower body, you're looking a lot around the knee and the ankle. That was the number one answer. Literally 20 people spanning the globe got back to me with that answer. And then the next one that came from a lot of people was, the more you earn, the more you learn. That one was really hammered home by my buddy down in New York, New Jersey area, Steve Nickel. Real good guy. We jokingly call him Rocket because he kind of looks like Bradley Cooper. If you know, you know. Uh, and then the founder of Ultimate Performance, the global personal training brand, Nick Mitchell. The number one lesson he said he got from Charles was the language of strength training. That was the number one thing he really got from Charles, was understanding just the language of it and all that goes in behind the scenes of that. Not just the X's and O's in the gym and whatnot, but it was the language of it and understanding that at a deeper and more intimate level. And then a lot of people also were giving answers that had to do with the biosignature, bioprint, metabolic analytics, and how different hormonal profiles are going to play a role in not just somebody's results in the gym, but also how they're going to be able to gain strength, how they're going to be able to lose fat, and how that interplay is also going to be impacted, and how our nutrition and supplementation play directly into how our results are going to be, not just in the gym, but performance-wise as well. For example, if somebody's carrying a lot of fat around their hips, odds are they're not going to be able to perform at their best. And one of the lessons that Tony Parra down in the Dominican Republic had said was, put in effort. That's the number one thing that matters at the end of the day in the gym. If someone is not putting in 100% effort, they're not going to get the result. Doesn't matter how perfect a program is, the effort is going to be king above all else. And a few people also said, be careful of who you're getting your information and learning from, because there's a lot of charlatans out there passing up bad information, but they're charismatic, but they don't actually know what they're doing. So these are some of the other top lessons that people from around the globe. So I'll give you some examples of where all these people are coming from. Perth, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Singapore, Dubai, Marbella, Spain, Italy, the United Kingdom, especially London and up in Newcastle, Monaco, in through the US, basically spanning from coast to coast, as well as in Canada from coast to coast, with a lot of people in both Quebec and Ontario with a lot of the same answers on that. So these are a lot of the biggest lessons people were getting from Charles. I figured I'd just hop back on and read out some of the answers that these people were giving and collate some of the top answers that were given. So as you can see, Charles had quite the influence, not just on myself, but many others. And this is just a small sample size of all of the different answers that I got, both in text and video format. Now, so many people out there have already forgotten who Poliquin was. Just the passage of time, just 7 years, and that's how quickly people are already forgetting about people who put the foundations down, built up the industry, and who gave you the foundation of what it is that you're doing today. There are so many coaches out there that are talking about certain principles and certain theories without even realizing where they came from. Now, did Charles make all these up on his own? No, but what he did is he would go learn from East European, Soviet people, learn the language, be able to then translate it, be able to apply it, and then make it a little bit easier to communicate and teach it to people so that they can then pass it on. What he realized later in his life was that he wasn't going to be able to have the same impact just doing things on his own. So he had to teach people. He started that out with the Poliquin Strength Institute and the Poliquin International Certification Program. Then in 2013, when he left that company due to some other things, he started up the business Strength Sensei, which went from then until his passing in 2018, where again, he was teaching his lessons, whether it was the PICP program, biosignature, which both those, when it became Strength Sensei, it was essentials and principles of program design. It was doing stuff like biosignature, which became bioprint, which then became metabolic analytics. And then also bringing in therapy modalities like the kinetic chain enhancement, like learning and kind of associating with the likes of Dmitry Klokov, Ed Cohn, bringing some of the best minds together. Also pushing forward the advancements in exercise equipment. In my gym, I've got Atlantis and I've got Prime Fitness USA, two companies he influenced heavily in their designs to make it so that they were much better for the average trainee as well as for the elite athlete trainee. So it matches the strength curve so that the weight you're lifting actually matches what it should. The other thing he really did was brought a community together globally. Before the internet, you wouldn't be able to message someone over in Singapore, whereas today, thanks to the power of smartphones and the internet, I'm able to have a network with people in Perth, Australia, Singapore, the Middle East, whether it's Dubai, Kuwait, over to Monaco and France, Germany, Italy, the UK. Flip it over into North America, all across North America. We have a network of coaches that we can all relay information to. If we don't know the answer, we can ask somebody, and that's just strength and conditioning. Not to mention bringing in nutrition, bringing like the likes of John Berardi, for example, and precision nutrition, hopping over and to therapy modalities, whether it's active release techniques from Dr. David Leahy, or you're looking at different other physical modalities, whether it's gua sha for certain things, the scraping technique, or you're looking at different stretching modalities like proprioceptive neurofacilitation stretching, PNF, or fascia stretch therapy, and in Chris Fredericks. So he helped to also promote these other people in those modalities. And then there's other things like functional medicine, IV nutrition, red light therapy, all these different things that were kind of not all that well known even 10 years ago. And then he was kind of on the leading edge of a lot of this stuff, kind of pushing forward with what the research was doing, bringing in doctors on the leading edge, like Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, bringing in Dr. Bob Rakowski on functional nutrition, bringing in Dr. Walsh, extremely good on metabolic health and functional nutrition. You should check his YouTube channel out because he puts out some incredible tidbits as well. So the Lessons of Charles wasn't just limited just to strength and conditioning. It was bringing all that plus so many other things in the health and fitness world all under one umbrella to make it so that we're getting not just better results for our clients, but living a healthier, better life. He was talking about microplastics before that became part of the lexicon today. So if you got any value from this, or you have learned personally from Charles, or gotten lessons from him either during his life or posthumously, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with what he taught you. Anyways, that's everything for today. Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance. I'm here standing on the shoulders of giants. Embrace your potential.